that's been a reoccurring theme lately, that we've seen a lot of these podcasts with informants and people who cooperated, and now they're doing all these podcasts and like these, I guess we would call them social media tours, where they're making the rounds on different shows and talking about their stories. And it got me thinking, because one of the main themes that I notice each one tries to say, and what they try to portray, is how they're repented and how they're turned over a new leaf, and they changed, and they regret their past life, so to speak. And in thinking about that, I was wondering, is it just, how far does that regret go? Is it a matter of now, when they're speaking on the social media outlets, or they're playing to a jury, that they act as if it is a new regime and a new person? Or are they taking the step where they have reached out to the victims who they may have affected when they were involved in doing these bad deeds? So let's say, they robbed someone's house, or they shot somebody, or they killed somebody. I'm wondering, being that they're so sorry for these past sins and these past misdeeds, and they want to turn their life around and they want to make a change, did they take that step to go meet with the families of the victims? Did they apologize to the people? Whether somebody's going to forgive them or not is a different story, but did they try to clear that aspect of their conscience? Did they try to show, I know when somebody has, an addiction problem, they have those 12 steps, and I believe one of those steps is you have to go and talk to whoever you wronged. And that's when somebody's legitimately trying to repair their life and build it back up and trying to make a change. So it has me pondering, wouldn't that play over if somebody is trying to be reborn again, so to speak, and change their ways and become a new person, and they truly are sorry for what they have done? Wouldn't one of those honest actions be to meet with the people you have wronged? If you've ended somebody's life, wouldn't you want to meet with their family and explain to them that you're not the same person? And you would want to meet with them and try to explain how sorry you are, and the fact that you are changed, and that you're not the individual that once was. Wouldn't that be part of that change and that new persona and the new person you're trying to become? Or are you just trying to change as far as when you're talking to a jury, or when you're on social media, or when you're doing interviews where you're telling everybody you once were a bad guy but you're no longer a bad guy? Is it just for the masses, or is it something that you really are trying to seek forgiveness for from the people that it matters to, from the people whose lives were affected? And again, whatever that may be, whether you did end somebody's life, whether you did rob somebody, beat somebody, whatever it may be that you apparently are changed from, that you wouldn't do those things any longer, and that's not your character any longer, wouldn't part of the process of changing that behavior be accepting what you did and then reaching out to those that were affected? Not to strangers who don't care. I mean, why would that matter? Why would you care if strangers think you're reborn, or you're changed, or you're repented, whatever you are? Why would you care what strangers think about that? If you're truly embarrassed internally, and you truly want to seek refuge, and you truly want to seek forgiveness or acknowledgement that you're a different person, wouldn't you want that from the people who are most affected by your actions? I mean, that would make sense to me. If I wronged somebody, I really couldn't care what the general public thought about how I felt about it. I would want the person I wronged to forgive me if that's what was bothering me. If I felt that I was such a poor person prior to one day, and then now I'm a totally different person, I would want to reach out to all those individuals I wronged when I was in my bad way and explain to them. And again, whether they forgive you or not is irrelevant, but if that's something you need to do to clean your soul and to really prove that you are this changed individual, I think that's where it would start. And I don't think that happens too much. I don't know. And you may be sensing a sense of sarcasm in my tone, and trust me, I'm giving it, because I don't think that happens too often. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen those families coming forward or people affected saying, hey, this is a new person now. They really changed. They're really making a change. They're doing all this good. They came and asked for my forgiveness. They changed their ways. We don't forgive them, but they're trying. Nah, I don't think that happens. So it really makes one question, how transformed and rehabbed are these individuals? Or is it the fact that they just got caught doing whatever they were doing? They didn't want to have to be accountable, and their ticket out of accountability was to give up a bigger fish, a bigger target. So that's what they did. They didn't have a coming to Jesus moment. They didn't have an epiphany. They didn't have a desire to change their ways. They had a desire to self-preserve and to protect themselves and to once again put themselves first and save themselves and ruin another person's life just so they didn't have to be accountable. I don't know. To me, that makes more sense based on the actions that follow. You know, you can't be that sorry for something if you're doing these publicity tours and you're doing all these different interviews and shows and forums and podcasts, whatever it is, but you're not reaching out to the people who were really affected by your past behavior. They're not even an afterthought. They're not even being addressed on the shows. I mean, that's another thing. When they're doing these podcasts, they're never asked in-depth questions about their past, about what did they specifically do. What were their bad actions that they did that they're so sorry for that they want to change their ways now? What exactly did they do? And that's because they're controlling the narrative. It's very easy to do an interview when you're controlling the narrative. You're only going to give all the positive. You know, you're not going to dive into any of the negative. So it's very easy to come across sounding sincere, sounding, as if you are trying to make a change, as if you're trying to make good, as if your new mark on the world is one in which contains positivity and goals and objectives. It's very easy to sound that way and come across that way when you're controlling how things are played out. But if you really start diving into your past and you start diving into your past actions and things you may have done, hurt people, robbed people, beat people, killed people, whatever it may be, things change a little bit then. Then you're not as, calm, cool, and collective. Then you're thrown off a little bit. Then you really see how sorry somebody really is. When they don't want to talk about things and they want to ignore certain things, that doesn't tell me they're too sorry, because that just means you're avoiding the truth. You're avoiding who you really were. Let's say you are a new person. Why would you avoid that? You have to embrace it. If I felt 15 years ago I was a piece of garbage for some reason or another, I would have to own that if I felt that way. If I truly felt I wasn't a good person 15 years ago and now I'm a different person, I would have to own that. I would have to own everything I did. I would have to explain everything I did. And I would have to explain I had a different mentality then. That wasn't who I am now. Something changed in me. Something clicked. I was a bad person. I did this. This is what I did to people. I tried to reach out to them. I would reach out to whoever I affected. I would apologize. I would acknowledge them. I wouldn't ignore it. I wouldn't run from it. So, that continues to stick in my mind, because I constantly hear about how people have, changed. They changed their ways. They're not who they once were. They decided that the life they had in the past isn't the life they currently want now, and they only want to do good, and they were doing bad in the past. Now, if all that's true, you have to make do then. If you want to change who you are, you have to make do. You have to follow up. You have to acknowledge it. You have to face those who you have wronged. That's my view on it anyway. Obviously, they have a different view on it because none of those things were done. Now it's just about making sure that the YouTubers and the podcasters and the blog readers and the forum readers, that all of those individuals believe you. That all of those people are satisfied. Doesn't matter what the victims' families believe or the victims themselves believe. That doesn't matter. It only matters with what this fan base now, this new social media empire fan base believes. And I don't know how the public falls for that and doesn't ask these kind of questions. Unless they do and they just don't care, I don't know. But I do see a lot of the time they're very quick to pick apart the character and the personality and the accusations about those that were informed on and those that may be doing jail time. They're very quick to pick apart those characteristics, but never their own personal misdeeds. And I think that's just an observation I wanted to talk about and vent a little bit about, because I find it frustrating and I find it hard to believe that I'm the only one who thinks of these things. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners do. And I figured by talking about it, people are saying, yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. So I wanted to kind of connect with those who had the same kind of thought process as me on that.